Hi, it's your $2 Tuesday movie critic with another set of movies nominated in the 2023 Oscars. Okay, so our next segment is for Best Animated Feature Film. Now, there were five movies nominated, and I enjoyed watching all five of them. And I admit, I love animated movies, just like I love movies, and like I love documentaries. So these were a joy to watch, some more than others, but let's get into it. So our first nomination goes to Puss in Boots, of course, from the Shrek franchise. This one, it was Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. This was such a good movie. The kind I would watch again, for sure. It is independent of the Shrek movies, even though at the end, the storyline does indicate that there may be another Shrek movie in the future. The movie was so full of fun and laughter from the beginning. It had so much heart, I shed a tear or two. I also liked how they introduced Goldilocks and the Three Bears in a very new kind of way. They also made the nursery rhyme character Jack Horner a very unlikable nemesis, yet still very comical, which is the Shrek way, which is the animated way, let's be real. So it was a really great movie. And I do see it as being a contender for Best Animated Feature Film. But let's go to the next one, which is Pinocchio. Now, I had a hard time seeing this as an animated movie simply because it was not animated. All of the scenery, it was wooden, or with some other type of material, which actually was more difficult. So, but it was in the animated character. So let's are the animated category. So let's go with it. All right, so Pinocchio is, of course, an age old story that they took a different take on it. Okay, so of course, this movie was done by Guillermo del Toro, and this was his version of Pinocchio. So it was such a sweet movie. Just like the story I read when I was a kid, with, of course, a few variations. Those variations make the story new again and even more sentimental. I think this movie is more Claywood animation, like I said before, but it was so beautifully done from beginning to end. And it even had a new ending to go with that was very sweet. So it goes in that realm as far as animated movies in that way where it's fun for the whole family, for sure. Our next nomination goes to Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Again, not animation, but it does. I mean, everything in there is real, but they had the googly eyes on all the shells. So I guess that's how they got. They were able to get over on the animation part. So anyway, this movie was super sweet, super cute, and super long. Way too long. Um, I liked it, and I think a lot of people will as well. However, I think this movie was nominated because of the popularity of Marcel the Shell and not how well the movie is done. I just think that they were trying so hard to get the sentimental part that they sometimes missed out on the comical part. Like, take for instance this part. There's a segment in this animated movie where Leslie Stahl from Sunday Morning, shout out to Sunday Morning because I love that too, does an interview with Marcel the Shell and his creator, or in this case, friends, and a roommate. And they're having this conversation. And Leslie Stahl asked the question, how long has it been since you've seen this and seen your family? How long it's been since you've seen your family? And Marcel gives this answer that is super sweet, but a little bit too much so, and way long winded. And then Leslie asks, his friend the same question, who happens to be human, of course, and he said 2 years, and just like that, it's like, oh my gosh. So, and that's just an example of how Marcel the Shell goes on with stuff for too long. And the movie itself, it's not just Marcel. Sometimes they put in too many details that are not necessarily needed. And it didn't have to be as long as it was. So just be ready for that. Okay. But no, this was not a contender with Puss in Boots at all. It was sweet, saccharine sweet. It was lovely. Um, Too long. And there was no adventure. There was no punch, or the thing that makes the movie. It was just here the whole time, even kill. You know, there was a sad part, of course, a couple of sad parts, but again, they were all here. Even the happy parts here. You know, so for what it's worth, that was it. There was no mystery. There was nothing. There was not even really a lot of laughable parts. Where kids like to laugh out loud and stuff. Yeah, there was none of that. So this no. So then we have the movie The Sea Beast. Now this movie I loved. It was a new take on an old situation, you can say. I don't think this movie has really gotten any publicity. I have never heard of it until I saw, the Oscar categories. Um, it definitely deserves more. I don't think I have seen such a diverse group of human animated characters ever. And let me make sure I say that so you understand it. Human animated characters, and they were diverse. You had different races, men and women, children. It was just very diverse. I love that. I love that. And it wasn't just one of each to represent a different group and then a whole bunch of white people. No offense, but it wasn't that. It was just a whole bunch of different people, different races, different genders, different age groups, and there were multiples of that. And it was beautifully. The drawings, oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. The scenery, everything just meshed so well together to make this movie like brilliant. So the movie has heart, action, humor, and challenges the status quo. And that's the socialist hierarchy that happens between royalty and their their village or the kingdom or whatever the case may be. When, sometimes it's okay to say you're not right about a certain thing, and it be okay. And even if it's not okay, to still say it. Oh, I just love the main characters. You could say the main characters were the pirates, and that there was one little girl, that just stole the show. That little girl was just so wonderful. Just so wonderful. I love this movie. I honestly think this movie should win the Oscar, and the only reason that I don't think it will, and it hasn't hurt before, but it might in this case, that nobody knows it. I mean, there have been plenty of other movies that nobody's heard of or that nobody's watched, I would say, that have won the Oscars. The final nomination here, Turning Red. Also, very good movie. I loved it. So, this movie was really great. I loved how it emphasized female empowerment and female friendship. It was really great. The relationship between the mom and the daughter, and the relationship between the friends. Yeah, it was really great. I didn't really care for the disrespectful teen aspect, but I guess it had to be there. I like that May, who was the main character, stood up for herself, but I like better that Maisie, who was the main character in The Sea Beast, stood up for others. And the animation is excellent in both movies, just excellent, superb. Almost so excellent that you would think that it wasn't animated. So those are the 5 categories for best animated film, and I really think that The Sea Beast should win. It'll probably be Puss in Boots because that would be my second choice, and I think, and of course, that's the most popular one. And if neither one of those win, it should be Pinocchio. So again, and I think, and not necessarily because Pinocchio was also well publicized, but because Pinocchio, I mean, the work it took for them to make that movie, and that goes into another category, I think. Pinocchio would be the clear winner. I mean, jeez Louise, they did a lot of work on that movie. It took them years to make it. But again, the other movies, they were great too. But as far as content, and just looking at content of the movie, I think that the Sea Beast is the clear winner. I really do. But that is just my opinion. But all the movies were original. They were fun to watch. I mean, get ready for way too much stuff with, Marcel the Shell. But even that was very cute, and I think the kids will enjoy it. So they're all great family movies for the family. And that is my take on these movies. So I hope you enjoy it. Let me know. And I hope to see you next time or at the movies.